Why does investing when you're younger matter so much more than any other time in your life? It all comes down to compound interest. We're going to be looking at an example between two different people and see where they end up at retirement depending on when they started investing and even when they stopped investing, because the effects of compound interest can really take a huge toll even if you don't invest for your entire life. Let's go ahead and look at this example. So I'm going to explain every step to you very clearly so anyone can follow along. So let's go ahead and start with person number one. One thing to note is, let's just say that our example person here is 20 years old. Again, it can be any range. We're just doing this for an example. They are 20 years old and they want to retire at 65. We're going to have a starting initial investment of $10,000. So whether you saved up some money over the course of your life, working some odd jobs here or there, we're going to assume that you have $10,000 to start with. Of course, you can change this for any amount you want if you're going to do this yourself. But in this example, $10,000 was what we're going to be starting with here. We're going to say that you're contributing $500 a month to this initial investment. So that means the first month you'll have $10,500. The next month it'll be $11,000. The next month $11,500. So $500 a month adding to that to help contribute to the long-term goal here. And we're only going to do that for 10 years. You'll see what we'll do in the long run here, but we're only going to add $500 a month for 10 years, and then we'll stop adding to it. And we're going to see where we end up, especially compared to the second person. So the estimated interest rate here is going to be 10%. If you take the average return from the S&P 500 of the stock market over the course of the years, you will get a number about 10%. So this is very normal. And that just means how much money we're going to get back each year. In this term, it is going to be annually. So this will be a 10% return every single year, which again is something very normal. And if we actually calculate this first set here, you're going to see that we end up with $121,000. Now, this is not what we're retiring with, of course, but this is just after 10 years of putting $500 a month into the account that we started. We're going to have $121,000 to work with without even putting anything more into this account. Let's move on to step number two for person number one and see what we're going to retire with. Okay, now you can see here, we took that amount that we have after those 10 years, which is $121,000. We're now putting $0 every single month into this. We're not touching it. We already did all the hard work, all the lifting. Now we're just going to let it ride for 35 years until we want to retire at 65. Because if we started at 20, the last 10-year period puts us at 30, and 35 years will make 65. So now we're keeping that 10% interest rate annually. Let's go ahead and calculate what we'll have without ever adding any more money to this account. We are going to end up with, yes, that is right, $3.4 million. After those 10 years of adding $500 a month, we got to $121,000. Now, that isn't exactly the most amount of money. Of course, you can't retire on that. It doesn't seem like much, but then we don't touch it. We don't do anything because we did that heavy lifting in those initial years. That amount is able to snowball into such a huge amount down the line, and we're now at $3.4 million. That is a huge, huge amount of money to go ahead and retire with. Now, why does this matter? Well, let's take a look at person number two. They decided to do things a little bit differently and they didn't invest as early. And I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Dossier. It really does help me out. Dossier reproduces classic high-end luxury scents at a fraction of the price, keeping the exact same high quality by cutting out all the expenses and the brand tax. Any scent is $39 or less, while designer scents range from $50 up to $280 in retail. This ambery mint is actually inspired by Versace, and I can tell you it is one of the best scents I've tried so far. There are free exchanges and returns forever. Dossier has a welcome offer with up to 20% off the website. However, you can get up to 30% off your first order by using the discount link in the description of my video. Dossier has a new payment method that lets you earn store credit. Select cash at the last step of the checkout and you can earn yourself a $10 bonus credit and even get rewarded with 10% store credit on every order after that. Alright, so with person number two, we're going to change a few variables. A lot of it is going to remain mainly the same. They're both going to start with $10,000 to initially invest. They've saved up some money, they want to start investing, and that's the number they come up with. Both had $10,000. Very simple. And in this case, this person is also going to invest $500 a month. Now the difference is, this person is starting to invest at 30 years old. The last person started at 20 and they only put in $500 a month for 10 years and then let the rest ride. This person is starting at 30 and they think, well, I have to catch up a little bit, but I'm gonna invest $500 a month every single month until I retire. 35 years. So they're 30 years old, 35 years gets to them to 65 years old. That puts them at the retirement age that they want, and they're gonna invest $500 every single month, and surely they think they'll come out on top because they're investing more money every single month for a longer amount of time. 35 years, adding $500 every single month compared to just 10 years of that. Surely they'll come out on top, right? Well, let's go ahead and calculate what they'll have at retirement starting 10 years later, but playing catch up, $500 every single month for 35 years. This is not a joke. This number that you see right here, $1.9 million is what they're gonna be left up with. So even though they invested $500 a month for 25 more years, 25 years every single month living, and you have to set aside $500 every month, budget for that for the rest of your life, not for the rest of your life, until retirement, that is, you're gonna end up with $1.9 million. The other person ended up with $3.4 million, only having to do that for 10 years and letting the rest ride. That is because they started investing earlier. The compound interest has time to take over and grow that money into such a large amount because time is your ultimate friend with compound interest. All that matters is what the time period is for your investment. It doesn't really even matter how much you invest. Now, of course, person number one could add $500 a month for 15 years. They could do it for 20 years. They could do it for the whole time until retirement, and they're gonna end up with $4 million, $5 million, $6 million. So that's a benefit, but that's something you don't even have to do as long as you try to take care of this as soon as you can. So that is why many investors will tell you that time is the number one most important factor when growing your money for your future, and that as early as you can invest is the best time to go ahead and do so. Hopefully this example puts a little bit of perspective on that fact for you and opens your eyes to think, now is the best time to do this. It sucks, maybe you didn't do it yesterday or a year before or 10 years before, but the best time is now today, because in that example of person number two, while they end up with 1.9 million, which seems like way less money, if they would have started 5 years later, it'd be even worse. So go ahead and do your best to take care of your financial future. Even setting aside small amounts of money does add up, especially the soonest you can do it. So go ahead and follow me for more financial, tech, and money news. I have plenty of videos on my channel that cover a lot of these topics. You guys can ask me any questions you want in the comments down below, and I can either make a video on them or respond to them in the comments. And of course, thank you to the sponsor of today's video, which was Dossier. But other than that, I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.